Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to Be With Me, 7 Minutes of Biblical Wonder. You are in Season 4, Episode 1. And don't turn your dials, because this is the great place to start. This is the best place to start. We've done Season 1, 2, and 3 before, and there's a cycle. But the cycle actually starts today with Season 4. And you can ask yourself, what kind of knucklehead starts in the middle of a story? Well, me and George Lucas, that's who. I didn't mean to start a podcast. The pandemic sort of got me started in that, and I just happened to be in Luke chapter 6. So we went from Luke chapter 6 all the way through the rest of the Gospels, and now we've left from the beginning of the Gospels until what was happening in Luke chapter 6 blank, and we're going to fill in that blank starting at the beginning with Season 4, Episode 1. So I didn't mean to start a podcast, but I certainly do mean to finish one and go full circle. So if you want to do the cycle, start with Season 4 and then go to Season 1 and Season 2 and Season 3. There's 450 days. This podcast is meant to be a little bit of a prod, a daily inspiration, perhaps. And if you wanted to start with Jesus' start here today. We've just finished, actually, in Season 3, walking through Christ's passion and crucifixion and resurrection. And that actually applies to when the gospel was written, because I feel like we've walked with Jesus and known him, and then now we're going to get the beginning of the writing of the completing the narrative about him. All right, so why chronologically? Let's just talk about that for a second. In my mind, it's easier, it's less confusing, it's more orderly. The sequential is easier for me to understand. And though you can take a particular Bible lesson and sort of pick it out of the timeline and just study that alone, I find it helpful to think about what happened kind of yesterday for the people that were in the story, and then act with surprise as you find out what's going to happen tomorrow. So here we go. Let's go. This is Luke chapter 1, verse 1. And this is the dedication of the Gospel of Luke. Verse 1, inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile a narrative of the things that have been accomplished among us, just as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have delivered them to us, it seemed good to me also, having followed all things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus, that you may have certainty concerning the things you have been taught. So this is a single sentence in the Greek. The scholars tell me that this is one of the most beautiful sentences in all of first century Greek. It is Luke giving his writer credentials. It's almost like it's written by the Hemingway of that century. So it was written when things were accomplished. That is, when Jesus was sat down, after Jesus has sat down spiritually, after the New Testament had been fulfilled and accomplished, and after the Old Testament had sort of promised about him. So the Old Testament kind of is about the covenant, and the New Testament is about Christ. The Old Testament is about the promise, and the New Testament is about the person. And that's where the shadows of the Old Testament have become sight. So we have God foretelling in the Old Testament, Christ is coming, that he's going to suffer, and he's going to fulfill what is told in the Old Testament. So it's only appropriate that those who have walked with him, that those who have known him, are the people that are witnessing in this particular book. Verse 2 says that they were actually eyewitnesses. So we get this narrative, this beautiful narrative description written by Luke, who's quite a writer, by eyewitnesses as the source. We find out that this is the description of the writing is a narrative. That is, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. The topic is God's revelation. That is, just as those who are from the beginning were eyewitnesses. So the topic is this start of the story and the complete story. The sources are these eyewitnesses, but also Luke himself. He says, I followed these things closely for some time past. So there's a length of time, there's an attention to detail, and then there's the structure that he says. He says, I want to write an orderly account, and he knows who he is writing to, and that is some sort of an official. We don't know much about him. Most excellent Theophilus. It's a greeting that is used for some sort of a official, some person that bears some sort of respect. And then verse 4, we have to finish with that, which is, why is this written? Why is this gospel written? Why are all the gospels written? But that is that you, Mr. Theophilus, would have certainty. So he's collecting this amount of teaching, not just for fun, not just for history, but that you would be certain about it. So the Bible, either it's trustworthy or it's not. And for you new listeners and new readers of the Bible, holy cow, we're so glad that you're here. Give it a test. See if it's trustworthy. If it's not, trash the teaching. But if it is trustworthy, then you can have certainty. And if you can have certainty, then you can have belief. So the title of this podcast is 7 Minutes of Biblical Wonder, because we do wonder and sit with things. But I think Luke might even argue with that. He says, no, it's not to wonder, it's that you would have certainty. So I'm so glad that you're here, really on the first episode in this sequential chronological cycle. Tell your friends this is the place you want to start. Episode 1 of season 4. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow.